Hi everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. YouTube, let me start off by saying that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So, I have some notes right here that I am going to be referring to, and let's get into it. So on January 19th, 2023, I got off of work at around 12 p.m. and this is when I was working at a beauty supply store. I got there at 8:02 a.m. and I had a great day. I saw on my makeup, it was a lipstick that I had at the time, and it had 111 as the name of the color of this lipstick, which, what are the odds? I just found that interesting, so I included it in here. That day when I was meant to be at work and clock in, I had issues clocking in because the doors were locked. I still chose to clock in outside the doors because I was there on time. I then ended up going to the restroom at the grocery store right next to us, and I came back. I eventually got in the building, but I didn't have that. I didn't tell the manager that was there when this happened, and then the other manager came in later, so it was the two of them that were both there. And I was debating whether or not to share this with one of the two of them that were there that day. And I was debating, because I felt fear, and I thought, okay, well, what if I get in trouble? What if I get some points? And that, is closer to leading to potential termination. What if, they're upset with me? So I was building up all this artificial fear at the end of the day and attempting to navigate through that while on my shift. I then reached a point, at some point before I left, I made sure to speak with one of them about what happened and what I did and why I did what I did. And the result was I wasn't in any trouble. And it was okay. And the manager that didn't open the doors on time, was in some trouble. If they're going to be here and you're expected to be here, they need to make sure that the doors are open. So I put that in here because I just felt a lot of fear of sharing that with the manager for the reasons that I already shared. But I was proud of myself that I ended up telling the truth. It may not have been to the initial manager, but it was to one of them. And everything was okay for all parties in the end. But I did put that in here, and I do believe me telling the truth was something that I felt uneasy about, helped me then see beyond the veil for this specific experience that I'm about to get into. So I come back and I then see on my microwave and my stove and my dishwasher that it says 111. It makes sense with the microwave and the stove being in sync, but the dishwasher usually isn't. So that caught my attention. So I've seen 111 4 times now. I then ended up taking a nap at around 3 p.m. And I'm now in darkness, right? And I'm hearing my name. Ryan. And I heard this maybe 4 more times, I want to say. It was at this point that I then opened my eyes in the astral realms. But everything looked the exact same. The color didn't look blue, it didn't look greenish, and I suspect now that a reason for that is because I took a nap with my curtains open. So all of that natural light that was pouring in through here was pouring in through there. And I ended up looking over to where the voices were coming from, which, here's my bed and that's my door. I looked over and I noticed that there were two beings in white toxic gear from head to toe. I thought that was a little bizarre. So the next thing that I thought to do was ask them, who are you? And these two beings ended up saying something just to brush me off, but I don't quite recall what that exact thing was. I then asked them, why is it so easy for you two to move, but so difficult for me? I felt I could move my head, and that's about it. I was lying in my bed, I'm now on my back, but I just felt attached to my bed, and like I couldn't get up. So they then responded with something negative, again, just to like brush me off. You know how in some of these movies where the parents tell the older brother that they want the younger sibling should hang with them, so they have to watch them, and the older sibling, I said brother because I have a brother, but the older sibling doesn't want to, and the younger sibling's like, oh cool, I get to go hang with my older siblings and their friends. But the older sibling is looking at the younger brother as, this is a chore that I have to do, and that you're basically this weight, your baggage that I do not want to have to carry. So I'm going to do the minimal effort to appease the parents, but if I had my way, I wouldn't have you here. And that was the type of feeling that I felt, as the younger sibling would feel in that specific situation, when they were just continuously brushing me off. And they were off to the side, just talking to each other. There were moments where they were facing me, and then moments where they'd just be in their own world talking to each other. And that's what they were doing at this point. I'm now, kind of releasing that, okay, they're not going to tell me what's going on, and I'm not returning to my body. So I then looked at my hands that were beside me. And at this point, I feel my soul started guiding this situation, and my astral body, I just let go. And I looked to my left hand, and it was open, my palm was open. And after a few moments, a ball of light started to appear in the palm of my hand. I then shut my palm, and it was now a fist. Just because I was surprised, what just happened? Was that real? Did I just see that? What was that? And I then opened my palm again, and the ball of light appeared again, and it was starting to get bigger and bigger. I did this a couple of times, and after a few times, I had left my palm open with this ball of light, or what I thought was light, in that moment. I then looked over to my right, and these beings that were next to me, that were 99% sure that I was not a threat, that were just in conversation, all of a sudden I feel this light, which is actually fire, shoot out from my left palm, go up and around me, and there were these, two ETs in this toxic waste gear, one on the right, one on the left, and it ended up hitting the left shoulder of the one that was on the left, and it shrieked. It burned it badly. It hurt, and I received, the information that I received was that this thing felt fear, and it felt pain, and it was, now frantically acting and moving, trying to put it out. And the one on the right now was gone. And I looked a little, I changed my focus from further out to my door to right by my bedside. And I realized that this ET is now crouched right next to my bed with this toxic waste gear. And I think my name was said again, and then I was in darkness. I suspect what it did to me was a psychic blast, or projected an image in my mind or astral body so that I was further subdued. I think it took a part of my consciousness from my astral body and placed it whatever it wanted it to be placed, which in this case was me walking about this neighborhood. Everything was kind of hazy. I don't know if when you know how when we were in elementary school, if this was the type of art activities that you did, and you would take all these color on paper, and maybe take sand, and just play with all the different textures in the room and outside and make art with it. I felt that I was moving through that type of grain. That was what was overlaying everything that I was moving through. But it was a neighborhood, and there was this haziness to it, and I don't want to say darkness, but it was foggy and thick, and I could still move, but that's what I was moving through. And there were a couple of gators, whether they were crocodile or alligators, just down on the ground. And I was then coming out after descending down this stairway and coming into this parking lot where there were a bunch of vehicles and people honking. And all of a sudden, after that, I'm now back in darkness. And I feel this pinch in my lip, in the bottom of my lip and in my gums. And I realize that I'm now being injected in my lip once my eyes open and I come to by these beings in these toxic waste gear. And I then looked to my hand, trying to create this fire that came out of nowhere again, and it doesn't work. No matter what I did, it didn't happen in my left hand or in my right hand. And after that, I think I just resorted to asking another question as to why you were doing this, they were doing this, and what they were doing. And the answer I received was something along the lines of, we're doing it because we can. And then they took off their headpieces. They're still in this toxic waste gear from shoulders going down to their toes. But I then saw their face, and I was surprised, because they didn't have ears, they didn't have eyes, they didn't have eyebrows, they didn't have a nose, they didn't have hair, but they did have a mouth. But everything going up was just a little dark, and I doodled a small little drawing which is what they looked like. And it reminded me of the Death Eaters from Harry Potter, if you've ever seen that film franchise. And I thought for a second, in some fear that, are they trying to make us look like that? Is that their goal? But I don't think that that was. I don't think that is now either. But that injection and drawing my essence and my energy away from me definitely had an effect on my natural abilities that I have in the astral realms, that I believe we all have. And as soon as that happened, I had no way of defending myself, and I wasn't able to create anything. So I then got up after this experience. It ended with, me not being able to create anything, and them now laughing off to the side with their toxic waste headpiece now off, and essentially gloating about it. And I returned to my body. I then looked at the clock and it said 3:47 p.m. And then I just put that for the next time, further surrender to my soul and see if I can reconnect with my soul a little more before I take a nap. So this was that full experience. Excuse me. I hope if any of y'all have encountered these beings, that you're able to tap into the elements or your natural abilities that aren't the elements, whatever they may be, telekinesis, telepathy, you name it, list goes on. We all got them. They may be different, but I have every reason to believe that we all, as 9 ether beings, have gifts, spiritual abilities, and powers. So I hope y'all are able to access them. If you are astral projecting and you're remembering what's going on, and if it's essentially your subconscious working right now. Some things that have helped me since this experience that I offer is doing meditation, even if it's for 15 minutes during the day or during the evening, journaling, having a dream or astral projection journal, reminding myself that all of this is real, and being kind to myself. It has definitely been overwhelming at times, but being kind has definitely helped, because I can be my own worst enemy, So I don't think I got much else to say. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you for watching, and I want to close it by sending peace, courage, and divine cosmic love to every single 9 ether being who is on their journey of remembering their divinity and remembering who they are. Peace.